Okay, here we need to find the vertex form of a quadratic equation given standard form. So recall that vertex form is y equals a times the quantity x minus h quantity squared plus k. Now we're given a whenever we're given an equation in standard form, because in standard form we have y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So I know here that a is equal to 1, but I need to find out what h and k are. And h and k are the coordinates of the vertex. So how do we find the vertex given an equation in standard form? Well, remember that h is equal to negative b over 2a. Well, negative b would be the opposite of negative 2, which was positive 2, over 2 times 1. So in this case, h is 1. Now to find the value of k, we're going to plug 1 back into this equation. So instead of x squared, we'll have 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 8. That would be 1 minus 2 minus 8 would be negative 1 minus 8, which is negative 9. So h is 1 and k is negative 9. Now I have all the parts that I need for vertex form. I have the h value, I have the k value, and of course I was given the a value in the very beginning of the problem. So in vertex form, our equation is y equals 1 times the quantity x minus 1 quantity squared minus 9. Again, in place of h, I put a 1, so I have x minus 1 in the parentheses. K is equal to negative 9, so I would subtract 9. And then, of course, a was equal to 1, and that's where a goes. So this is vertex form. Now, once we find the vertex, of the quadratic, which is 1, negative 9, from here we can find the axis of symmetry, which is x equals 1. We can find whether or not it's a maximum or a minimum. Well, since a is 1, we know that this opens up. Therefore, it will have a minimum value. So it has a minimum. Its minimum value is negative 9. If it has a minimum value of negative 9, which is your y value, that means your range starts at negative 9 and goes up to infinity. The domain of the function are all the values that you can put in for x. And on a quadratic equation, you can put in any real number. So we denote that by using interval notation, negative infinity, comma, positive infinity with parentheses. And I think that we've got most of it here. We just need the intercepts. So to find the intercepts, the x-intercept is the value of x when y is 0, and the y-intercept is the value of y when x is 0. So again, we have y equals 1 times x minus 1 squared minus 9. The x-intercept is the value of the value of x when y is 0. So I'll put a 0 in for y, and I get x minus 1 quantity squared minus 9. I'll add 9 to both sides. I get 9 equals x minus 1 squared. I'll square root both sides, and I can hear you saying plus or minus. So I get plus or minus 3 equals x minus 1. I add 1 to both sides, and I get 1 plus or minus 3 equals x. So one x-intercept is 4, 0, because 1 plus 3 is 4. And the other is negative 2, 0, because 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Now, to find the y-intercept, we're going to put a 0 in for x. So I'll do this in green right here. To find the y-intercept, we're going to put a 0 in for x. So I have negative 1 squared, which is 1, minus 9, which is negative 8. And we always write our ordered pairs when we are writing x and y intercepts. Therefore, we have 0, negative 8. Now, all these answers should match the answers on the answer key, but hopefully this explanation will help you attempt number 47 all on your own. And when you do number 47, if you want to check your work, you need to check out the answer key, which is on the classroom website in the Algebra 2 folder.